Please subscribe. The 2020 Toyota Highlander might not have the smooth great looks of other three-line hybrid SUVs, or their roomy third-line seats. It has its own cards to play, magnificent crossover mileage and taking care of that ascents over the typical tranquil ride and removed directing. The updated Highlander comes in L, LA, XLE, Limited, and Platinum trim levels, with half-and-half forms of those trims from LA and higher. Over the lineup, we give the 2020 Highlander a TCC rating of 6.8, before any security evaluations have risen. While South Korea's greatest hybrids have swung for the cheap seats with style, the most recent Toyota Highlander gets swole. A year ago's model looked decent, calm, sort of exhausting. This year it's hit the juice. From the grille back, the Highlander's ledges and bumpers swell with practically human musculature. The kicked-up backside looks prepared to handle wind runs. Inside, the lodge sections its huge touchscreens above enormous even retires that loan the Highlander loads of little things stockpiling. Execution from the 295 drive V6 puts on a show of being smooth and easy through a responsive 8-speed programmed. With the 243 horsepower crossover framework, there's some protesting to excuse until you read the printout from the gas siphon. The Highlander hybrid can gut out up to 36 miles per gallon consolidated, a momentous number for a major family vehicle without a fitting. Either Highlander's ride and taking care of stacks up higher than rivals. The directing's weighted well and offers valuable street data, while the swangers and connections in the suspension control the ride without falling back on costly versatile dampers. The 2020 Highlander's bigger impression and increasingly extensive inside result with tremendous space in the first and second columns, and agreeable seats anticipate every one of the 4 or 5 individuals who stay there. Toyota's front right seat can't tilt its base pad, which cuts a little into comfort. The third-line Highlander seats aren't in the same class as those in the Pilot, or in a Pacifica, so far as that is concerned. However, they're fine for the little, and the little on a basic level. Payload space hits the benchmarks at in excess of 84 cubic feet behind the front seats. Each 2020 Highlander has programmed crisis slowing down, touchscreen infotainment with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto similarity, power includes a forced back end, and a forced driver seat. We like the Highlander LA and Hybrid LA for their solid worth. Both come in underneath $40,000. Select into a stacked Highlander Hybrid Platinum and you'll get an all-encompassing rooftop, calfskin upholstery, route, a 12.3-inch touchscreen, JBL sound, and a Sans hands rear end, yet you'll pay more than $50,000. With the 2020 Highlander, Toyota has stripped back a layer of show. The 2020 Highlander messes up a portion of the hybrid some time ago, bolts straight lines and transforms its body with protruding ledges and air admissions. It's blemished, however intriguing, particularly inside where the Highlander mocks balance on the whole. We think the 2020 Highlander merits an additional point for its lodge substance for a 6 here. The new Highlander's shape isn't very different than a year ago's model, however it rides on new secluded engineering imparted to various other Toyota vehicles, for example, the Camry and RAV4. Its styling is less rakish, with profoundly characterized lines that swell with more noticeable quality than previously. At the front, the previous ground-up grille has contracted to ordinary extents. The rearranged trapezoid wears a major chrome barrette cut on with the Toyota logo. The Highlander's swollen flanks give the body side some disposition, however the ligament-like shapes look steroidal as opposed to the planar entryways and nursery. At the tail, high and squeezed taillights lift the backside far away the ground. It's a competitor's position in the squares, regardless of whether its general size is more disc-curler than long-distance runner. Inside, the new Highlander gatherings a large portion of its controls together around a standard 8.0-inch or discretionary 12.3-inch touchscreen for infotainment with access handles and fastens beneath. The striking asymmetry of the lodge functions admirably whether it's rendered in the harder plastics of the base models or the gentler, rich completions of the costly forms. All the touch-delicate controls cant toward the driver, while shallow stockpiling containers and thin air vents sit in front of the front traveler. By one way or another, the Highlander wound up with a more radical and courageous cockpit than the RAV4, which has progressively gutsy outside styling. Somewhere close to the two there's a champ, all around. Toyota has played out some surprising changes to its new vehicles by turning them off from another worldwide design. The Prius, the Corolla, the RAV4, every one of them have essentially preferred taking care of over the vehicles they supplanted. Add the 2020 Highlander to the rundown. It's a piece of a similar family, and with phenomenal powertrains on tap, the recently sure guiding and all-around damped ride nature of the Highlander hoists its family vehicle game. We give it a 7 for execution, with additional focuses over the mean for its quickening and for its taking care of. On most Highlanders, power originates from a 3.5-liter V6 appraised at 295 drive and 263 pound-feet of torque that buses capacity to the front or every one of the four wheels by means of a 8-speed programmed transmission. Despite the fact that the Highlander weighs in any event 4,145 pounds, its increasing speed feels solid and clear. That is additionally obvious with the Highlander Hybrid, which can gauge in excess of 4,595 pounds. Toyota combines a 2.5-liter inline-4 to a nickel metal hydride battery mounted underneath the back seats and a consistently factor-programmed transmission, CVT. The half-and-half framework is useful for an all-out yield of 243 horsepower, yet battery power pushes it energetically off the line, and it sounds enthusiastic off the beginning, if a little grumbly at pedal to the metal. It's a second or all the more slow out of the entryway versus the gas Highlander, yet efficiency ascends to more than 35 miles per gallon joined on most hybrid models. Despite what's under hood, the Highlander is offered in either front or all-wheel drive arrangements. Highlander L, LA, and XLE trims with the V6 can carry 50% of motor torque to the back wheels when expected to improve grasp on tricky streets. Highlander Limited and Platinum utilize an alternate all-wheel drive framework that can slow down the left and right back wheels independently for better grasp. That high-level framework additionally includes different modes for rough terrain and smooth territory, in spite of the fact that the Highlander is a long way from a stone crawler. Mixtures get one more drivetrain arrangement. At the point when furnished with all-wheel drive, the Highlander Hybrid has a subsequent electric engine to control its back hub. No mechanical association exists between its front and back wheels. Select the V6 and the Highlander is appraised to tow as much as 5,000 pounds. Toyota says the Hybrid can tow as much as 3,500 pounds. Toyota sets up the Highlander with swaggers in front in a multi-interface back suspension, and fits it with either 18 or 20-inch wheels. The contrasts between this Highlander and the last are denoted. The 2020 Hybrid really connects with its driver with what's happening at the street surface through controlling with genuine input and with ride movements that don't lean first, and pose inquiries later. Gas-fueled Highlanders toll best with 18-inch wheels, which assimilate street blemishes somewhat better. Those 20-inch wheels, which don't transmit a lot of effect from potholes into the lodge, despite everything go along a greater amount of it because of heavier weight. Half-and-halves admission surprisingly better, their heavier control weight keeps the Highlander's vertical ride movements within proper limits. Front-drive hybrids even resist their chain and scrabble for footing until the back electric engine gets into the activity. The anxious feel channels through the gas pedal and through the tires, something we'd never have said about any Highlander at this point. Toyota pulls the Highlander like taffy to support its inside space and capacity. It's improved as a spot for up to 8 travelers, and the fascinating styling of the cockpit twists toward bunches of little things stockpiling. We give it a 9 for solace and utility. The new Highlander stretches 194.9 crawls taking all things together, is 76.0 inches wide, and rides on a 112.2-inch wheelbase. In all trims, the plenitude of room starts in the first column, where wide seats suit a great deal of body shapes, yet could utilize to a lesser degree a dished base pad. Base vehicles wear sparkling yet grippy fabric, while manufactured cowhide and genuine calfskin upholstery elegance increasingly costly models. Toyota adds warmed and cooled seats to the more extravagant Highlanders, and most accompany a force front seat, yet no Highlander can change the front seat for base pad tilt. The driving position falls off better, given the low-mounted tilt/telescope wheel, accessible lumbar padding, and broad headroom, much under the sunroof. The Highlander's multi-level scramble shapes a couple of shallow receptacles to hold cell phones, keys, and mail. The open canister in the middle stack has a go-through to the USB port underneath. Same as the old Venza Hybrid, yet the shallow containers aren't agreeable to fat hands. Remote charging occurs in the profound focus support, under a slide-away spread. The more affordable Highlanders wear hard plastic high up on the scramble and entryways, yet limited and platinum models get all the more delicate touch stuff, and a natty caramel inside plan. In column 2, those lower evaluated Highlanders additionally have a seat that is fine for 3 grown-ups over. Higher trims have commander's seats in the subsequent column, isolated by a low comfort. However, everything except the Platinum can return to a center-line seat with incredible head and room to breathe. The seats slide forward to open better access to the third-line seat, yet can't do so when a vehicle seat is introduced. That third column seat despite everything is better for medium-sized travelers and those littler, while second line extra space to move around checks in at 41.0 inches, the third line falls a long ways behind at 27.7 inches. B.